Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. My name is Jay Wilson. I'm a freelance consultant through my company, Onyx Reporting, and today we're going to talk about feature engineering. Don't change the video. Don't press the skip button. What we're actually going to look at is Data Diva submitted a question in the dojo about how to determine when return orders have been fulfilled. That was a question. It looks like she's been struggling with this issue for a while, and I wanted to help her out because management wants a report to tell them when a return has been fulfilled. And the challenge is sometimes fulfillment can take multiple months to complete. So let's see if we can't get her sorted. Now, I did say we're going to look at feature engineering, and it sounds fancy, right? Either you're super excited or you're intimidated, one or the other. Feature engineering is a process where we're going to add additional columns to our data set that give us insight into the data. What I mean by that is, here's a sample data set that Diva's given us. If I handed a spreadsheet like this to management, it doesn't really help them figure out trends in their data. Yeah, we can do additional math to get insight out of the data, but it doesn't inherently have value yet. And so feature engineering is a process where I'm going to add additional columns of what we'll call derived metrics derived from the data, that will give us more insight. And those derived metrics you can feed into a data science pipeline to help you understand what's important. So like if you're doing correlation. Ignore the big words. Let's just get to the thing. All right. So here's the data set from Diva. I did make a couple small, sorry, hold on. What happened to my screen? Hello? Where'd you go? I want you. And I made a couple modifications to the data. I dropped the start date and end date because I don't think they're important to the analysis yet. And I also dropped the accepted column. And the reason why I'm choosing to drop the accepted column is because we can derive it, I believe. If I understand the data correctly, we can derive accepted as the quantity delivered minus the quantity returned. So here, I delivered 7 units, I returned 1 unit, therefore I accepted 6 units in that month. That's a derived column. I'm not super interested in that yet. You might say, but Jay, that's just feature engineering. Yeah, kind of. Stick with me for a second. The solution to your problem, Diva, what you want to do is you want to calculate net change for the month. And we're going to define net change as order quantity minus the number of units delivered plus the number of units returned. What did I just say? Order quantity minus units delivered plus the units returned. Immediately, I'm sure you're asking, Jay, how can you have negative 12 net change? Well, they ordered 12 units in April, but they delivered 24. And so the math of that is negative 12. Now, that doesn't answer the question, though. Was the order closed? Well, in order to understand order close, we need to calculate ending balance. Ending balance being the cumulative sum of net change for that order. So cumulative sum, that's going to be 12. Here we'll do this, and then there we'll do. Again, these are all for the same order, 2591. And you're saying, Jay, how can you go from closed to open? Well, in April, they'd ordered a total of 24 units. Then in May, they ordered an additional 12 units for a total of 36, but they didn't deliver all of the 12 units in May. So the order is open again. And that's actually interesting. What if we add a column called is open? How do you know if an order is open? Well, an order is open if the ending balance is not 0. That's the phrase. So if this equals 0, then return a 1, else it is open. Oh, that's backwards. This is closed. Okay, so here the ending balance was 12, so it was not closed. Here the ending balance is 0, so it is closed, and now it's open again. Kind of interesting. What's also interesting would be if we had the number of months open. And the number of months open is just one row per, is just the row number for that order ID. So 1, 2, 3. At this point, the order has been open for 3 months. Now, why is something like that useful? Well, if I do a really good job with order fulfillment and I always close the order as soon as I get it, then my average number of months open would be 1. And that would be fantastic. But if it got to 3, 4, 5, or 10 months to close an order, that's probably pretty bad, right? Let's mock that up. So with 2591 here, insert some rows, pull this down. Okay. Let's ignore these numbers for the time being. How do I do a clear? Okay. So now, what happens if the order has been opened for 11 months? That seems pretty bad. And that's the kind of insight that management are looking for, these orders that have been open a long time. But the only way to have that information is if we create a derived feature or if we add a column onto the data set that gives us that information. Yes, you could scan the data and say, oh, that value repeats multiple times, but with analytics projects, we want to give people information, not tomes of data to parse. So this seems bad, right? But what if we, in addition to having the number of months open, what if we also added a column for the number of times closed? And you're saying, Jay, how will I calculate the number of times closed? Well, I have a column that says if it was closed in that month. So if I just took the sum, again, the cumulative sum, all right. So let's say hypothetically that yes, this order has been open for 11 months, but we closed it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Okay, it's been open 11 months and I closed it 5 times because I assume they've been placing, like re-upping their order month over month. Yeah, I just didn't fulfill it all at once. Okay, so now the average number of times it takes to close an order is 11 divided by 5, which is 2. That's back to a reasonable number. And that's very different than the average number of months it takes to close my orders is 11. My point in all of this isn't to say that this is what Diva should do, but I encourage you, as you're thinking about your projects, try to get to the root question. The root question management has isn't when did they close their order? I mean, maybe it is. I think what they really want to know is, are we getting better at order fulfillment? And then you might say, okay, well, how do you define order fulfillment? What kind of variables and factors play into this? What is good? And how do you define bad? And how do I derive that information from my data? And that's the kind of stuff you can engineer into your data set. So let's see how we did that in Domo. If I could only use a screen. All right. So I uploaded the data into Domo. And like I said, I did a little massaging of the data. I removed the start date and end date columns that Diva initially provided. And I did change a couple of the numbers so that it just kind of works for demonstration. But let's walk through the ETL. In these tiles here, I've recreated all of the steps that I did in Excel. So let's see. I start by calculating net change. And we agreed that net change is order quantity minus units delivered plus return. From there, we said we wanted to calculate the ending balance. And we defined ending balance as the cumulative sum. Cumulative sum requires a windowed function. And if you're not familiar with window functions, just do a quick Google SQL window function. Or don't, because it might be a little bit technically dense. So I do have YouTube videos about it. Check out. Ending balance is the sum of net change, where the window or the frame is unbounded, so back to the dawn of time, through the current row, 0, right? But I want to partition my data, or I want to reset the counter every time the order ID changes. And I want to sort my data by delivery month ascending. So I'll calculate ending balance, and I'll also calculate the number of months open, which is a row number, across that same window. In Excel terms, remember we did ending balance, which is a cumulative sum, and every time the order ID changes, I reset the counter, I start over again, and we also calculated the number of months open, which is the row number for this order ID sorted by that date. So it's the same thing. Here, at this point, we've finished Data Diva's problem. We've answered her question and reached the conclusion here. This is when they close the order, April 1st, or whatever. From this point on, we're looking at our feature engineering. So one of the things we did is we implemented that if statement in Excel to calculate, is the order open or not? So I'm adding a constant that says is closed is a 1 or is closed is a 0 based off of my filter on ending balance. Easy case. We then implemented another window function to calculate the number of times we closed the order. And again, that's our cumulative sum, same format across partition by order ID, sorted by delivery date. Again, number of times closed, that's this guy here. It's the cumulative sum of all the rows, partitioned by this order ID, sorted by that delivery month. It might sound a little bit confusing, but at the end of the day, that's what feature engineering is. And if you Google that term, you'll see it used in the context of data science pipeline. Because in order for your data science model, whether it's regression or classification, and I can't remember what the other ones are, like whatever your model is, it needs this kind of information that you and I just know when we look at the data. But data science models aren't smart like that. So we have to give them a column that has that information nicely laid out for it. And that's what's feature engineering. That's called feature engineering. All right, when I run my ETL, I can generate my data, generate a card now. And let's see if we can't answer Data Diva's question. Her question was, when did we close the order? So if I put order on the axis, and I calculate the max date, if I have max date and min date, that will tell me how long the order has been open. But what I'm interested in is when did I actually close it? And to know when it's closed, I have an order is closed column. Okay. I encourage you, though, to be very clear and precise about your language, right? You might say, yes, this is when we closed the order. And technically that's true. But more accurate language would be, this is the most recent time we closed the order. Most recent, right? Because I did a math. It's possible that I've closed that order 2 or 3 or 4 times before the date that you see there. And actually, it's also possible that the order is currently open, right? Because I could have closed the order and they re-upped it and added more units on top of it, like in this example here. So again, think about what your business actually wants to know. Think about what trend they're trying to analyze and see if you can't build that data into your data. I hope this was helpful for you, Data Diva, in terms of getting you the answer that you need. For those of you who are exploring advanced analytics or data science pipelines, this is one of the things that MagicETL is really good at, is it gives you this framework for adding derived columns and metrics without having to rely on scripting or expensive data scientists, but it does get you started. If you've got any other questions, my name is Jay Wilson. I'm a freelance consultant through my company, Onyx Reporting. Feel free to reach out to me at jae@onyxreporting.com. We'll catch you later. How do I turn this on?